Okay, so good afternoon, all of you, and we'll start the next topic, conveyance of water. Okay, so we'll be discussing in detail with pipes, joints, valves, and aperturances. Okay, so now we are familiar with the source identification, and intake structures we have discussed in the last class. Now, from intake tower or intake well, now we have to bring the water to a treatment plant or to a consumers directly. Okay, for that we have to plan. So these are something simply called as is conveyance system. So in the conveyance of water, and these are some points we have to discuss in detail: pipes, joint, valves, and other accessories that we simply call it as aperturances. Okay. So for conveyance in transportation of water, there are two stages. One is this conveyance of water from the source to the treatment plant. Okay, so from the source, maybe your dam, okay, and to a treatment plant, TP. Okay, you can take it directly. That is number one. Conveyance of water from the source to the treatment plant. Second one is this second part, conveyance of treated water from the treatment plant to the consumers or the distribution systems. So please make a note on these 2 points. Okay. So conveyance, which includes conveyance of water from the source to the treatment plant. The second one is this conveyance of treated water from the treatment plant to the distribution system. Okay. So anyway, this we will be discussing in detail later after treatment. But now whatever we are going to discuss is on only this part. Conveyance of water from the source, or say example from a reservoir or from a river or from a lake or from a pond or whatever may be, to the treatment plant for the treatment. Okay, yes. In the first stage, water is transported by a gravity or by pumping or by the combination of both. So please make a note on that. Means first stage is from the source to a treatment plant. That water is transported by a gravity. Okay, or you can go for a simple pumping or combination of say example gravity plus pumping together. So depending upon their relative elevations of the treatment plant and the source of supply. Please make a note on this is something simple. Predominantly, most of the cases they may avoid the pumping because sometimes it will create a lot of pumping cost. So as much as possible, just to find a location where you can take a water by a simple gravity. Okay, yes. And the second stage, that means is from a treatment plant to a distribution or consumers, maybe either by pumping into an overhead tank and then supplied to the consumers by gravity or pumping. So please make a note down. Okay, second stage after treatment, what do you do? You just store it in an elevated water tank. That's what they do it in. They store it in an elevated water tank, and from the elevated water tank, it is possible to supply by gravity to the consumers, or you may have an intermediate, again a storage well. Okay, from water tank to a storage well by gravity, and from gravity to from say example storage well to the consumers by a pumping operations also. So this may have a combination. So please understand. So now what we are discussing here, it is this part and also this part. This part anyway we are not going to discuss now. We will be discussing in detail after treatment of water. Okay, the final stage. So this whatever we are going to concentrate this only on from the source to a treatment plant. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So based on this, you can have two different systems. Number one, a free flow system. Free flow system. Okay. This is very simple. The surface water is conveying section flows freely due to gravity. Please make a note on free flow systems corresponds to water conveyance by the simple action of gravity due to gravity. Okay, and in such a conduit, in such a conduit, the hydraulic gradient line coincides with the water surface and is parallel to the bed of conduit. So that you probably would have come across energy gradient line and hydraulic gradient lines in fluid mechanics. Okay, this we are not going to discuss in detail. Please remember the conduits what you are going to lay normally coincides with the hydraulic gradient line, thereby you could maintain gravity flow. Okay, yes. And it is often necessary to construct very long conveying sections to suit the slope on the existing ground as well. The sections normally used for free flow operations are canals. You would have seen water carrying canals. You would have seen those who are in nearby mountainous regions or near to a dam. You would have come across canal sections, okay, for the free flow of water. And there could be a possibilities through a flume and aqueducts and tunnels. So please make a note on these are four sections which will be used for free flow of water by simple gravity mechanisms. Number one, the canals. Number two is flume. Number three is aqueducts. Number four is about tunnels. Okay. So anyway, we are not going to discuss in detail. Probably these sections you may study in water resource engineering or irrigation structures. That we just anyway that the water resources part or irrigation structure part we are not going to discuss in detail. But at least you remember these are the free flow sections for the conveyance of water. Okay, yeah. The second one is this pressure system, and which are closed circuits. Please remember these are closed circuits. The water flow under pressure, which is also above the atmospheric pressure. Please make a note on this. Okay, pressure systems that normally happens in a closed conduits or closed pipes. Water flows under pressure above the atmospheric pressure, okay. These pressure aqueducts or pressure systems in the form of closed pipes or closed aqueducts or tunnels are called as pressure aqueducts. Please remember these terms, pressure aqueducts and pressure tunnels designed for pressure likely to come on them. So please remember what are pressure aqueducts. Okay, pressure aqueducts are closed pipes or closed aqueducts or tunnels, simply called as pressure aqueducts. Okay? And normally, due to their circular shapes, and every pressure conduit is generally termed as pressure pipes. Please make a note on this point also. Okay, normally most of the sections we may design in terms of circular shape. Thereby, every pressure conduit is generally termed as pressure pipes. Okay, yes. And when a pressure pipe drops beneath a valley, stream or other depression, that is called as depressed pipe or inverted siphon. Please make a note on these. So these definitions are something is important for the examination point of view. Okay, so simple conveyance of water by pressure systems as well. Okay, pressure inside the pipe, this is always above the atmospheric pressure. And these pressure conduits may be built in the form of closed pipe. That is simply you can call it as pressure aqueducts. Okay, or otherwise simply you can call it as pressure pipes. Okay, and when the pressure pipes drops beneath a valley or a river or some other depression, that is called as depressed pipe or inverted siphon. Please make a note on inverted siphon. These are some of the components. Okay, yes. Okay, these systems probably you would have come across these sort of pipelines in near hydropower plants or some of the water related projects, water related dam projects. Very big pipelines will be carrying water from a source to the say example a treatment plant or to a storage well. Okay, yes. These are pipes and also other requirements. Please make a note on these some of the points you have to remember. Okay, while designing for a pressure pipe. Okay, so normally these pressure pipes, okay, pipes convey raw water from the source to the treatment plant in the distribution systems. This also we have discussed. Water is under pressure always, and hence the pipe material and the fixture should withstand stresses due to number one, internal pressure. Please make a note on number one, internal pressure. Number two is about vacuum pressure. When the pipes are empty and with water hammer, when the walls are closed and temperature stresses. So please make a note on these points. Okay. So these are the essential points you have to consider while going for a pressure pipe design of conveyance system. Okay. So you have to be very careful with the internal pressure and you have to be careful with the vacuum pressure. Okay, and you may also use lot of fittings and you may also use lot of valves in between. Okay, imagine and some valve has suddenly been closed and there could be a water hammer. Okay, sometimes that water hammer also damage your pipelines. That is number third point. And fourth one is about there could be a temperature differences, okay, outside and also inside temperature difference, which may also cause temperature stresses in the pipelines. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, internal pressure, vacuum pressure, and water hammer. Fourth one is about temperature stresses. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one. Okay, how do you choose the pipe material for your action? That is something is important. Okay, that is a choice of pipe materials. You have to select based on the strength, number one. Okay, so these points are very easy to remember, and you need not necessarily to remember all the points. At least you just highlight very important points for your understanding. Okay, so materials what you select should be strong enough to withstand high internal pressure. That's the primary criteria, number one. Number two is water pipelines not only run under pressure at stages, very high pressures may develop due to water hammer. Please make a note on. That's what I told you. You may have a pipeline and suddenly you have a valve, and if it is this water flow is kind of abruptly stopped because of this valve action, and there could be a water hammer. Okay, so please make a note on the second point. Water pipelines not only run under pressure at stages, very high pressure sometimes may develop due to water hammer. Okay, so whatever the material you select should also withstand your water pressure or water hammer as well. Third point, they should also be strong enough for external overburden load, okay, wheel load and impact and also shock loads. So please remember, okay, so it should also withstand external overburden load. Sometimes suddenly external overburden load is normally these pipelines are being buried under soil. Okay, so you may then say example there could be a lot of soil also above the pipes, which may also contributes lot of overburden load or overburden stress, and we load the movement of the vehicle, and there could be an impact and also shock loads. Imagine now there could be a sudden earthquake below the pipeline. Okay, so there could be a lot of shock loads also, impact loads. Say example, sudden fall on a rock, okay, which is falling from a height of say example 20 or 30 meters and falling onto directly onto a pipe, okay, near mountains or something, okay, which may also create a lot of impact loads also. Okay, and again the stresses may develop due to settlement of pipelines. Okay, uniform settlement is a may not have an issue, but there could be a uneven settlements of the soil below the pipeline, which may also create a lot of stresses, okay, due to settlements of pipe. So please remember, the selection of pipes should take care of these points. Okay, the second one is hydraulic properties. Okay, so what are the pipe material you select, okay, should offer lesser frictional losses and higher hydraulic efficiency. Please make a note on this point. Okay, and whatever the material you select for your transportation or conveyance should not offer more frictional losses. Okay, frictional losses should be minimum, and you should produce higher hydraulic efficiency. Okay, that's the second point. Third one is it should also resist both internal and also external corrosion. Please make a note of, because it's been buried under a soil. Depending upon the soil condition, and the pipe material should be resistant enough to both internal and also external corrosion. Okay, yes, and whatever the pipe you select, okay, that's a conveyance system. Whatever you just select, the pipe materials should be available in diameters of say or may differ in variations in diameters. Maximum permissible diameters may differ with the different material and thus suited for different parts of water distributions. Maximum permissible diameter should be available, and easy to handle, easy to connect, easy to lay, okay, and easy to make joints. So these are some of the points you have to remember. Okay, easy handling and easy joining. Okay, so pipe materials are quite often found suitable from handling and joining facilities. Handling of very heavy brittle pipes are sometimes very difficult. In water distribution systems, for laying of pipes, many joints are bound to come, and so making joints should be easily be done in a particular pipe, and also the connection should be also very cheap. Okay, so please make a note on these points also. Maximum permissible diameter, and they should have a capability to handle and join the pipelines very easy, at the same time very economical way also. Okay, yeah. And normally, like any water supply projects, they may spend 70% of water supply cost only for distribution. Please make a note on. Okay, so whatever the pipe material you select, okay, may be very cheap and also economically viable. Okay, that's the next point. And whatever the pipe material you select or choose may not render or will not render water toxic. Please make a note on it. You should not have any amount of problems to the water, okay, which is being carried by the particular conveyance system. Side effects. Okay, so let me repeat again. Number one, strength. That is withstands pressure, overburden load, wheel load, impact load, and your shock loads. And the second point is about should offer a lesser frictional losses and higher hydraulic resistance or hydraulic efficiency, and resistance to internal and also external corrosion. And it should be available with the variable permissible diameters, and easy to handle, easy to join, and say example, it should be also economically viable. And last one is about it should not produce water with any toxic effects. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah. These 7 or 8 points are the important requirements of any pipe material for your implementation. Number one, it should be capable of withstanding internal and external pressure, facility of easy joints. It should be available in all sizes, easy to transport and easy to erect, should be durable, and it should not react with water or alter the water quality. Cost of pipe should be very less. Frictional loss should be minimum, and if it is anything on the damage in the existing pipeline, you are in a position to replace very faster. Okay, replacement should be very easy manner. So these are the 8 important requirements for the selection of pipe material. Is it fine?
Yes, sir, fine.
Okay, so being familiar with the basic characteristics, we will move on to different types of pipes. Okay, so in this we will be discussing in detail, majorly with advantages and also drawbacks. Okay, you can also highlight what are the merits and demerits of each pipe system. That is enough for the examination point of view. Okay, number one, CI pipes. Okay, so please remember, you would have heard about the terms in your household pipe level also, but be familiar on the terms. Cast iron pipes, CI pipes, GI pipe, galvanized iron pipes. Okay, steel pipes, and CC pipes, cement concrete, and PSC pipes, pre-stressed concrete pipes. RCC is reinforced concrete pipe. AC pipes is asbestos cement pipes, and PVC is polyvinyl chloride pipes. Is it all right? So these are the terms you would have heard about. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
CI, GI, steel pipes, cement concrete pipes, and pre-stressed pipe or pre-stressed concrete pipes, PSC, RCC, AC, asbestos cement pipes, and last one is about PVC pipes. Okay, we'll see one by one. Okay, you can classify the previous different types of pipes into 2 clusters. One is metallic, another is about non-metallic. Okay, so please remember, metallic pipes are predominantly cast iron, galvanized iron, mild steel, and ductile steel. Okay, and the metallic pipe also may be with unlined pipes and also lined pipes. Please make a note on it. Either you can line inside with cement mortar or epoxy lining. Please make a note on metallic pipes and non-metallic pipes. Metallic pipes are again 2 clusters. Okay, unlined and also lined. If it is by lining, you can use cement mortar or epoxy lining for prevention against corrosion. Okay, so non-metallic is mainly RCC, PSC, and AC pipes, asbestos cement pipes, or you can use PVC, polyvinyl chloride, polyethylene. Okay, polyethylene you would have heard about high density polyethylene pipes and low density polyethylene pipes, HDPE and LDPE pipes you would have come across. Okay, or you can use glass fiber reinforced plastic pipes, GFRP. Glass fiber reinforced plastic pipes, and you will also have UPVC pipes. Okay, so these are non-metallic pipes, metallic and non-metallic pipes. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we'll see one by one. Cast iron, and you would have seen even smaller diameter to bigger diameter. Even now, people may use these type of pipes for water supply lines. Okay, cast iron pipes are widely used for city water supply system, and they are sufficiently resistant to corrosion and may last for more than 100 years. Okay, you could be able to see now the different dimensions of. That's the first important requirement. Okay, you need not necessarily to have all the pipes with this diameter. Okay, and all the pipes with this diameter or all the pipes with this diameter. So whatever you select, which will be available in different diameters. Okay, that's what the first requirement of the pipes for conveyance system. Okay, the conveyance of advantage of cast iron is cost is very moderate, easy to join, and which is not subjected to any corrosion, strong and durable, and service connections can be made easy. And last one is about the usual life of CI pipes are almost 100 years. So these are some of the advantages of using CI pipes in the conveyance system. Some of the drawbacks here, breakage of pipes are very large. Please make a note down. Those who are familiar in cities, and you could also find very frequent notices. There is a leakage in a particular pipeline. You may not get the water for 2 days or 3 days. It's very common because of breakages. That is number one. Number two is, and the carrying capacity of the pipe will come down with respect to time. That is second point. Please make a note on the second point. The carrying capacity of these pipes decreases with the increase of lifetime of pipes. Okay, and this pipes cannot be used where the pressure is more than 0.7 Newton per mm square. Please make a note on. And if you go maximum of 1.2 meter diameter, maximum of 1.2 meter diameter, and this the pipes are uneconomical. Please make a note on. If the requirement is more than 1.2 diameter, these CI pipes are very heavy. If it is a heavy, it is somewhat difficult to handle, difficult to transport, difficult to lay, difficult to join, difficult to make connections, and it is also uneconomical also. Okay, so please make a note down. These are the advantages and also drawbacks. Okay, yes. Now we'll move on to ductile iron pipes. One thing is during the manufacturing, they may also add magnesium. Please make a note down. They may add magnesium into molten iron of low sulfur content. Okay, so this magnesium causes graphite in the ion to precipitate in the form of microscopic spheres, and thus microscopic spheres improves the properties of ductile ions. Please make a note on something is important. Okay. This addition of magnesium into the molten egg, and with the low sulfur content, you can simply call it as ductile ion pipes. Okay, yes. And the ductile iron pipes have excellent properties of high impact resistance, high wear and tear, high tensile strength, high ductility, and high resistance. So please make a note of these points. Okay, and the ductile iron pipes are strong both in terms of inner and also outer surfaces. Both inner and outer surfaces are very smooth, and it will be available in the different wide ranges, 80 mm to 1000 mm, and it is also available in terms of 5 to 6 meter as a length, 5.5 meter to 6 meter as one length. Okay, next one is about GI, galvanized iron pipes. Okay, so it is very simple, and on normal pipes, CI pipes are coated with zinc ion. So please make a note on this. Something is some important. CI pipes which are coated with zinc, which are commonly known as galvanized iron pipe. Galvanized iron pipe. These are GI pipes which is coated with zinc, which is coated with zinc, or known as galvanized iron pipes. Galvanized iron pipes. Okay, you would have seen GI pipes with the different dimensions or different diameters. Most of the cases they may use these GI pipes in water supply networks in buildings and other areas. GI pipes. Okay. The advantages: these are very cheap, lightweight, easy to handle, and easy to join. But some of the drawbacks here: these pipes are affected by acidic and alkaline water. Please make a note on acidic and also alkaline water. And this pipeline, normally the life is very short, 7 to 10 years. 7 to 10 years. So these are some of the drawbacks. Okay. And third cluster or third type is about steel pipes. Okay, steel pipes is very simple. The steel sheets will be available, and depending upon your requirement, and what do? You just take a steel sheet, and based on your requirement, you join the edges by either riveting or by welding. So please make a note on this. Something is important. Steel pipes are manufactured from flat plates and joining the free edges by simply you just go for a rivet. Okay, just simple, you just go for a riveting, or you just go for a simple welding process. Welding. Okay. Okay, so welded pipes are smoother and stronger than riveted pipes, and are therefore generally used these days. Please make a note on. Even though riveting is possible, then you can use only welded pipes, welded steel pipes. Okay, these welded steel pipes are strong in tension, and whatever the dimensions, if you want, you can make it. That is, even larger diameter can be made of thin shells, and these pipes can be designed for withstanding higher internal pressures. You can also use corrosion prevention coatings. Corrosion can be reduced by providing linings with inert protecting material, and these inert protective materials are, you can use tar, asphalt, bitumen, plastics, and also cement. This the protective coating provides mechanical protection. So these are some of the advantages. Whatever the diameter, you can make using flat sheets of steel. Okay, flat sheets of or flat plates of steel. You would have noticed in the nearby the NIT or Tuagudi, you would have seen a lot of fabrication plants or fabrication industries. They may do these sort of activities. Any diameter, any dimensions you can make using flat plate sheets, steel pipes. Okay, so this is what. Okay, this is with very good appearance, and even once you weld, and also it is somewhat difficult to find where the welding it is, something like on. Okay, so you can make a perfect pipe like this with the different dimensions or diameters. Okay, and the advantages here, number of jointing or less, because these are available in longer length. Whatever the length you want, you can make it. The pipes are cheap in first cast, durable, strong enough, and flexible to some extent. And this can be also be laid on curves. It's very simple, curves. And transportation is very easy because of this light weight. You could also see the thickness of the sheet or thickness of the pipe is very minimum. Very minimum. It is easy to bend and easy to transport because of its lighter weight. Okay. Some of the drawbacks here is maintenance cost is very high. And here also again there could be a possibilities of corrosion or rusting in acidic and alkaline environment. And the pipes require more time for repairs during breakdown, thereby it is not suitable for bigger distribution networks, and the pipes may deform in shape under the combined action of external forces. Please make a note on this. If it is anything on the shock load, if it is anything on the the impact load, there could be a deformations in shape. Deformations in shape. Okay, these are some of the drawbacks. Is it fine? CI, GI, and steel pipes. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next one is about cement concrete, CC, cement concrete pipes. This you can go a maximum of 0.6 meter in diameter. Okay, 60 centimeter as maximum. Okay, and you can use or you can prepare the pipes in situ, or you can do precast materials also. Please make a note on. Wherever the requirement, you can transport cement, aggregates, and water. Okay, you cast it on the site, cast in situ, or based on your requirement, you manufacture cement concrete pipes and transport to the required place. Okay, please remember or please make a difference on what is cast in situ and precast. Okay, cast in situ is in you just prepare the pipe with the dimensions on the site wherever the requirement. Okay, precast is your plant or industry maybe somewhere else, and like manufacture the CC pipe and transport to the site for your requirement. Okay, these are the two different ways where you can prepare CC pipes, CC pipe. Okay, and cast in situ pipes are useful when the site conditions are difficult and where it is difficult to carry the pipes. Okay, so where you can use cast in situ mechanism, or where you can use precast pipes for your implementation. That's something is important. Okay, yes, and when pipes are cast at site, and you may require a lesser supervision and check is possible as compared to the case of precast pipes which are cast in factories and thus subjected to greater quality control. Okay, if it is anything on site, you need not worry about much. If it is being transported somewhere from somewhere else, then you have to be also cautious on your quality control. Please make a note on these points. Okay, cement concrete. Okay, you would have seen these type of pipelines or pipes either lying on the nearby the road for implementation, or you would have seen in some industry or sea pipe. Okay, this is cement concrete pipes. Okay, and you can use like a proportion of 1:2:2. Okay, cement to fine aggregate to coarse aggregate. Okay, and you can use a maximum size of the aggregate as only 6 mm. Okay, please make a note on this is something is important. Specifications are 1:2:2, and you can use the maximum size of aggregates as 6 mm. 6 mm. Okay, and they are provided with circumferential reinforcement. So please, these are circumferential reinforcements to carry the hoop tension, and nominal longitudinal reinforcement of 0.25% of gross cross-sectional area. Please make a note on 0.25% of the cross-sectional area to be provided. Okay, thickness may vary from 2.5 centimeter to 6.5 centimeter. For pipes, diameter varying from 0.1 meter to 1.2 meter diameter. So these are some of the dimensions or specifications you have to remember. Okay, so number 1:2:2, 6 mm aggregates, and you have to provide circumferential reinforcement to take care of your hoop tension, longitudinal reinforcement, which is also equal to 0.2% of the cross-sectional area of the concrete. Okay, and please remember the thickness may vary from 2.5 centimeter to 6.5 centimeter of diameters varying from 0.1 meter to 1.2 meters. Okay, these are some of the advantages. Lifetime is 75 years. This can be casted in site. Maintenance cost is too low, and inside the surface of the pipe can made very smooth and there is no danger of corrosion or rusting. But the drawbacks are the transportation is very difficult, and repair work is very difficult, and initial cost is very low, high, and these also being affected by acid and alkali and salt water environments. These are some of the drawbacks with RCC pipes. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, RCC. Then pre-stressed concrete, probably would have come across pre-stressing. So what do you do now? You can also have a permanent internal stresses up to the desired extent and deliberately introduced in the seal reinforcement so as to counteract the stresses that are likely to come by external loads when such pipe is subjected to loading. So please make a note on. You just pre-stress the concrete well in advance. Okay. So let me repeat again. The whatever the permanent internal stresses up to the desired extent are introduced in the steel fibers or reinforcement so that to counteract the stresses that are likely to come by external loads when the pipeline is subjected to loading. Please make a note on that. Something is important. Pre-stress concrete pipes. Okay, you can do a pre-stressing before the pipes is subjected to loading or before your laying of your pipe. That something is important. Okay, yes. So this plain cement concrete pipes can carry are used for a lower head in order to in the order of almost 150 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, and the RCCs normally it may go up to a head of 750 kilonewton per meter cube for larger heads. Even sometimes pre-stressed concrete pipes is more than 750 kilonewton per meter cube also. Please make a note on. These are something important advantages. Okay, so it is somewhat difficult to differentiate which is PSC and which is RCC, but based on the pre-stressing, then you can classify into normal concrete RCC and PSC. But if you look into the like pipes, you are not in a position to say which is RCC and which is PSC. Okay, that something is important. The advantages here, you can here also again you can make the internal surfaces is very smooth, and maintenance cost is very low, durable for almost 75 years, no danger of rusting, and thus pipes do not collapse or fail under normal traffic loads. Difficulty as of similar with RCC because difficult to transport, difficult to repair, and difficult to there could be a possibility of cracks during transportation and also handling operations. These are also affected by alkalis, acid, and also salt environment. Okay, almost similar to your RCC. Okay, and next item is AC. Asbestos cement pipes, asbestos cement pipe. Okay, so what you do is you use asbestos fibers, silica, and also cement. Okay, please remember the first point. Asbestos, silica, and cement are converted under pressure to dense homogeneous material possessing high strength are called asbestos cement pipes. So please remember, asbestos, silica, and cement are converted under pressure to dense homogeneous material possesses higher strength and higher durability. So that you can call it as asbestos cement pipes. Asbestos cement pipe. Okay. So asbestos fiber, which is thoroughly mixed with cement, serves as a reinforcement. Okay. Asbestos fiber will act as or serve as a reinforcement. Okay, these pipes also available in different sizes ranging from 10 to 90 centimeter and 4 meter length. And based on the grades, it is also available in different pressure ranges, 150 kilonewton per meter cube to 1400 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, so these are asbestos cement pipes. Okay, asbestos cement pipes. And the advantages here again, you can also make it internal surface is very smooth, and these joining of pipes is very good and flexible, anti-corrosive and cheaper cost. Transportation is very easy, and these pipes are suitable for distribution pipes of smaller size. Okay, and drawbacks are these are brittle. Please make a note on these are brittle, and therefore handling is very tough. These are not durable. Okay, and these pipes cannot be laid in exposed spaces or places. Last one is these pipes can be used only for low pressures. Okay, these pipes are can be used only for very low pressure situations. Okay, yeah. The last one is PVC, okay, plastic pipes. That's what I told you. These are synthetic resins of high molecular weight, polymerized from simple compounds by heat, pressure, and catalysis. Please make a note on. Okay. So anyway, manufacturing of PEP plastic pipes and other pipes we are not discussing. At least for a better understanding, just remember the definitions. These are synthetic resins of high molecular weight, polymerized from simple compounds by application of pressure, heat, and catalytic action. Okay. Yeah. The plastics used in the manufacture of pipes and tubes principally to PVC, polyvinyl chloride, and cellulose acetate butyrate types. Please make a note on. Predominantly, we may use PVC, and you can also remember cellulose acetate butyrate also. Cellulose acetate butyrate. These are three different types of PVC plastic pipes. Number one, low density polyethylene, high density polyethylene, and you may also have unplasticides PVC also. Please remember these three: LDPE and HDPE and simple PVC. Simple PVC pipes. Okay, PVC pipes would have seen. It is also available in different diameters and different thickness also you make it. Different thickness also you make it. The advantages here are pipes are very cheap, durable, flexible, resistant to corrosion, and good electrical insulators. These are very light in weight and it is easy to mold with any shape. But the drawbacks are the coefficient of expansion is very high and it is difficult to obtain with a uniform composition and less resistance to heat, and sometimes some type of plastics sometimes impart a taste to the water. Okay, yes, yeah. These are different pipes used in conveyance. Okay, so these are some of the IS code specifications. At least you just have a look. Different classification of pipes based on pressure as per IS 1536 1976. Okay, so class A, class LA, class A, and also class B, and this you can remember the working pressure in terms of kilonewton per meter square. Class LA it is about 1200, class A is 1800, class B is 2000 kilonewton per meter square of working pressure. Okay, and these are test pressures. Okay, after laying, you have to also test the pipelines with against pressure. Okay, so please remember these are test pressures of CI pipes as per IS 1537 1976. You can remember these what could be the diameter and what could be the test pressure range. Okay, that means these pipes will withstand this much amount of pressure, including joints. Okay, yeah. This is the ordinary RCC pipes as per IS 456 1988. What could be the diameter and what could be the test pressure, and where the place you can use these type of pipelines. Okay, and this is 5 classes of category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with cylinder RCC pipes as per IS 1916 1989 with the test pressure. Okay, yes. Okay, so probably so these are the points. Just remember as pipes. Let me stop here, and one more class we'll discuss how to lay the pipe. Okay, and how to test the pipe, and how to make joints. And the last part is what are the different quality control parameters. So with that, we'll close the topic on conveyance of water. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please remember whatever we have discussed in the class today with only the pipes. Okay. So the pipes are classified into metallic and also non-metallic. Metallic pipes, what we are seeing, this is galvanized iron, cast iron pipes, galvanized iron pipe, steel pipe, and also ductile steel pipes. And when metallic pipes are either lined, also unlined or aligned with either cement bond or epoxy lining. And non-metallic pipes are classified into reinforced concrete pipes, pre-stressed concrete pipe, and also you have a asbestos cement pipes. And last one is the plastic pipes, either with HDPE or LDPE or PVC pipes. Okay, yeah. So for examination point of view or for better understanding, you can prepare a table column with different types of pipes, and you can also have a comparative table, which is his advantages and which are the parameters or drawbacks or disadvantages. That is more than enough for your logical understanding about the different types of pipes. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop here. Yeah. Thank you so much.